Hello and welcome back to our next video in our series on XYZ Mesh version 8.2. In this video, I'm going to go over with you some of the graphing options that we have available here. So we're using the same data that we had last time, and it is converted over into a mesh format. And if you notice that whenever I'm rotating right here, how you do this is I am simply using a left click on my mouse and dragging the direction that I would like to go. You also notice that down here it's changing the rotation based on where I'm clicking and dragging. Now if this, for instance this right here, is not rotating how you would expect, so for instance the X rotation is a little off right here, however if I rotate it here it does what I would like it to do in the center. Let's say that that is going on there. You can actually change this by going over to graph options and reverse XY. If you click that, now this rotates up and down here and rotates like that onto the side. So it really depends on a preference for you. So if the chart is not rotating the way that you would like, you can go in and change that. If you'd like to adjust the Z values to be flattened down to a certain point, all you have to do is go over here to the Splice and just scroll that track bar down to wherever you want. And you notice that the number above it shows exactly where the top of that is going to be. You also have the same options with the Y and X axis. So you can just scroll down to the Y axis. You can also scroll down with the X axis. If you would like to pan this, all you have to do is do right and left click on the graph at the same time. You can pan up, pan down, left and right, as you can see right there. And if you ever need to reset this, all you have to do is hit reset graph and it will reset everything back to its default settings. If you want to change the size of the lines or the points, you can go down here to size. It is currently set to 5. You can change that to 3 or 2 to make it easier to view, or if you'd like, you can change it up higher than that. Depth coloring, if we go up to display and go to color effects, you can actually change that to be whatever you want it to be. Let's go to no effects, and as you can see it also changed the colors over here in the mesh format. We change this color to white. We can change it to any color that you would like it to be, and this can be adjusted here. We also have the availability to do shading on it as well. So display color effects, you can do lighting and shading. And as you can see, you can have those colors and you can also have shades with it as well. Border is just a border box that will show you where your data is contained inside of. You can change this to anything you want, but by default, it is set to teal. The custom colors, the easiest way to set this up is to do it by percentages. So if we go down here and we go to color effects, you have two different options. You have the color variant based on percentages and the color variant based on values. If you toggle on the percentages, it has automatic colors set up for you that ranges from red to purple, with red being the highest, purple being the lowest. Now, on the other hand, if you want to customize these colors, all you have to do is go down to color effects and customize colors. Settings are going to be loaded, and then whenever they are loaded, a new window will pop up allowing you to customize all the values that you want. You also have the availability to have a ground layer. So sometimes this is helpful if you want to get kind of a grasp for the scale or where the bottom layer is. This is sometimes helpful for you, and that way you can see where about your data is placed at. Next, let's look at the graphing options. So the types of graphs that you can have. If you go up to graph types, you can drop down and you can see all these different types. Now these types are available in not only the converted mesh data, but also the input data as well. However, they won't always work exactly the same. For instance, points, let's turn off the background or the ground layer. So for instance, if we have points, you can see that the points are still there, and that closely resembles what the input data look like, but it is still plotting off the mesh data because we have it converted over to mesh. Lines will track the lines as soon as it is plotted, so it'll go from left to right going down, and as you can see, it starts over here and it plots the data as it is received in the mesh format. So it kind of jumps around a little bit. Mesh will give you the mesh data in the format that is taken right here. You can also go down to surface, which is another form of the mesh format. It's just a solid plane. Triangles, which is also a mesh format, but this time is plotted in triangles instead of the rectangles. A heat graph, which can either be a solid or a grid, which is basically a flat plane that you can then look at the heights. It is, like I mentioned, either a solid or a grid. Then you have a single Y and single X. This is available to you for the splicing. So in case you just want to view one single splice, you can see we are now viewing the Y at 8. We can also adjust the X in that and the Z as well. So you can do single points with this and adjust all of those as needed. The final option that you have down here is a layered option. Now this will allow you to see multiple graphs stacked together, and that way you can pan up and pan down and see them at different angles, get a better representation. Now at the bottom of the graph types, you also have an option for your default graph settings. So with the default input graph, the default setting is points. That means that whenever you input data or you're plotting with the input data that you just pasted, it will populate the graph as points. You can also change this to line if you would like. Our graph options. So if we drop down the graph options menu, you can see the first thing is window state. Now we currently have our graph window in a docked state. We can toggle on a floating state, which means if you notice here, we now have a wider area that we can see our converted mesh data, but also on the other screen, our graph populated in its own window. The origins is where the rotations are going to be happening. So you can automatically control this with XYZ Mesh, where it will register the highest point, the lowest point, and make that the center point for all your rotations. Or you can have it set to 0, 0, or you can also customize it and put your own origin point. Hi, I'm Kyle, owner and operator of Great Technical. Thank you all so much for making it at this point in the video, and if you are here, go ahead, like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot, and it lets me know that the content I'm making is stuff that you all like to see. Go ahead, leave us a comment as well. Let me know if there's anything that you would like to see in the future, or if you have any future updates that you would like to have included in our products in the future. I would also like to say that being a company owner, I am very proud to be able to support businesses and students. I am also extremely proud to be able to support content creators. So if you have a content platform, you make videos, or if you have a blog and you would like to reuse some of our content, or if you would like to review some of our products, go ahead and send me an email. My email is right here, support@greattechnical.com. Get in contact with me. We can see what we can get worked out. And until next time, thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your day.